Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Mike, Garrett's here. Hello, Garrett.
Hey, howdy.
How are you, pal?
I'm here.
What happened to the music there? Did you do that?
Yeah, I did that.
Okay.
I'm still learning.
Yeah. Let me fade it out, and then you stop it. Very good. Travis is here as well. Hello, Trav.
Hello.
How are you, buddy?
Good. How are you?
I'm very good. Very good. You look great.
Thank you.
How's Jen and the girls?
Yeah, I'm dressed for work. They're doing
Yeah.
great.
Good.
Yep.
Good. I'm still blown away, man. Ever since I saw the video, they're twins, right?
Yep. Identical.
Yeah, identical twins of them playing the piano. I was
They're
just like,
super good.
they're really good.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me knowing who their mom and dad are, but
They've been playing since they could barely sit on that bench.
really,
Yep. And
Where?
maybe
Why
not,
did
maybe
you
not
play, or
our-
did your wife play?
I played trumpet classically. That's the only one I can play from sheet music. I can
Okay.
play a little bit of piano by ear, guitar by ear.
Yeah.
But I wish I would have learned piano.
Dude, me too.
From sheet music would be
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd give it. The older I get, the more I'm like, God, piano would have been so
It's
awesome.
foundational to pretty much any music,
Everything.
Yep.
I noticed that like any
including percussion. Anyway, so
yeah, any great guitarist can play piano.
Yep.
And I haven't figured out why that is exactly, that it transfers so well, but
Yeah. It's true.
but yeah, I was watching some YouTube video not long ago, and it was like the chord progressions, are like just go right on down, like this block of four
Yep.
keys or whatever.
Kinda
into
like a
this-
guitar. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
and that must be what it is.
Yep.
But I remember, when I was younger, like Eddie Van Halen, you're just like, wow, this guy's a virtuoso on the guitar, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
Jump comes out, and the guy's just a badass
He's
on the
hit the
piano
keys.
too.
So
What's that? Yeah.
I want them to stick with it for another year, and then they'll be into college and they can do what they want. But from that point they'll know forever. But-
Yeah.
so they're good.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for coming over, buddy.
sure.
It's some of you may know, those that are on Facebook, anyways. But another power outage, and normally I would drag the generator out, and because you got that tuned up for me, thank you again for that, Trav. But it's been buried in shit. I've got this whole place is under construction. And so it's kind of behind. It's not so hidden now, but it was behind all kinds of drywall sheets and all. And I'm like,
I know. I expected the garage to be. T-Roy's stuff is gone. I'm like, it'll be kind of clean in here.
yeah, no, it was. But there's a lot of stuff in there for what's going on with the bathroom construction. What the tile. There's pallets of tile in there for the house. So it's just kind of a shit show. And they said, because it went off, there was no storm, no nothing, and so it was like, the hell's going on?
Yeah, that's weird.
So I figured it'd come back on in an hour or something like that. And then I got a thing and it said it'd be back at midnight. So I'm like, okay, no big deal. I'm not going to bother dragging this out for a couple hours when I'm going to bed anyways.
It was like 400 people.
yeah,
something like that.
Oh yeah, dude. It was. I looked at the DTE site. It was 99.9. Everybody had power.
The smug, what do you call it? Not township. What
Yeah,
is it?
Franklin Village.
Yeah, and you guys can't have power.
You know what it was? It turns out there was, I don't know if it was some dipshit or what, but they were doing something underground, one of the manholes at 12 and Telly. And they sparked something and apparently just fucking shot fire, like you see in the movies.
Oh,
and
shit.
it blew
Buffalo
up
Boys, okay.
something. Yeah. So, but then it was like, oh yeah, it'll be on at midnight. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll just deal with that. And went to bed early and woke up, still no power. I'm like, shit. And then it's like, oh yeah, this afternoon. And I'm like, okay, well, that's just a few hours. That's not so bad. Maybe we could still do a show today. I don't have to drag the generator out. And then it just dragged on longer and longer. And it's like, now we're at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And I'm like, it's got to come back. Because I talked to some of the workers, the DT people were around here. And they were like, it'll be on in a couple hours for sure.
Okay.
So it's just that weird spot to be in. And I'm like, ugh.
Well, I'm glad you got it back.
Yeah, me too. But what people don't know is it's like starting the studio over from scratch. Like the cameras go kaputs, all the equipment shuts off, the iMac goes to sleep. And so thank God you're here because Garrett's new.
I've been being.
I got to learn a lot today.
Yeah, good. And you're
You have to
young,
have glasses and a beard to work here.
Yeah, apparently.
It looks like it.
Yeah,
I feel like we're typecasted now.
You got to be skinny too.
Yep.
Skinny, tall, beard, glasses.
Yep.
Does the work. So
Check.
yeah, got it all. And then I'm the fat guy that oversees. I'm Jabba the Hutt, sitting here overseeing.
I think
everything.
you're doing fine.
I'm doing better. I'm doing okay. But yeah, so it's been kind of a nightmare around here. But the guy doing the bathrooms upstairs is just a machine. He lives like 2 blocks over.
No, it's good.
And,
It's close.
Yeah. So, but he's like, I got a lot I can still do in the dark. And
Nice.
So I was like, dude, come on by. I feel kind of weird though because he's got a kid that's like 10, and I don't know, like he's the neatest.
With him?
Well, he gets dropped off by the bus. So at the end of the day, he walks over here and then he plays with Cece, and then his dad drives him 2 blocks home. Okay. And he calls me Mr. Mike, which is nice. I wish all of you would call me Mr. Mike.
I'll work on it. All
right. But dude, he's honestly the neatest little dude I've ever seen. And I'm like, does that put you, are you allowed to like be like gushing over a 10-year-old? Like, this dude's fucking awesome, man. Or does that put you in some weird pedo category? Because it's not your kid. He's only 10. Is the rule just like don't touch their wee-wee and you're good?
I think just don't touch them, you're good.
Don't, and I haven't touched
So
him.
you can be nice to a kid, but don't touch the kid.
But I'm like telling his dad, I'm like, that kid's fucking awesome, dude. He's awesome. He's in plays and shit at school, and he was down here. I was showing him the studio, and he's reciting lines from his play, and I'm like, this is awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know where that stands. I'm always weird about that because uncles are weird to begin with.
Mike.
Yeah, exactly. And then
we're always weird.
Yeah. And then with other people's kids, it's like I'm not used to being in that world.
I hate other people's kids. I just don't go near them. Don't give me your
touch
kid.
them,
Don't let me hold your kid. I don't want to watch your kid.
But they're usually little shits that think they know everything. But this he's like totally respectful, like really cool, and his dad's awesome. I'm like, oh man, this little guy's great. So anyway, but yeah, that's where we've been the last couple of days, if you were wondering. So.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Glad
Anything cool
everything
going
came
on
back.
with your world right now?
I mean,
are you a pilot?
God dang, you had to ask.
Are you officially?
Yeah. Yep. I'm
Congratulations.
Officially. Actually, when I was a student, they apparently I'm a pilot when I'm a student pilot, but I never counted that. But yes, I have my private license or private certificate now is what you're supposed to say.
Yeah.
So I have that, and I'm working on instrument now.
So when you were flying me around a year ago,
It was actually more than a year. It was a year and a half. It was summertime.
So you were no way a pilot then.
I had whatever it was, 40 some hours of experience from before the kids were born when I first started learning how to fly. That was my experience. But I will say that Ryan's flight sort of that and a couple other things kickstarted my interest again to get back.
You were great
to get back into it. Yeah.
I'm finding that as I get older, I'm getting more scared in those.
Nah.
Like I'm with accomplished pilots.
That one's got a parachute.
No, I know that one does. But my boy Ben Carter, who runs Trinity Health, like he's a pilot. He'll take me up every once in a while, and it's like you're in this little cockpit, and I'm looking over, and he's like, there's Michigan Stadium, and we'll just go into a roll. I'm like, God, I had no care in the world when I was younger. Like none of that bothered me.
I don't know, man. I'm still terrified of planes.
I don't like the big planes?
Ones. No, I don't like big, small, any plane. I just don't like being in the air. It's just not my thing. I feel like something. It was an old joke. I'm trying to remember the comedian, but you had a whole thing where it's like, hey, let's all get in a metal tube and piss in God's face for the next 4 hours.
Yeah. So there's something to that. Planes have never bothered me. I flew by myself cross country at 5 years old, and the stewardesses were great. I was hanging out with them. They gave me wings. It was like awesome.
Yeah.
Never scared of it.
The little plane's a different experience.
It's
bouncier,
totally
little louder.
Yeah. Little bouncier is an understatement.
We took one over some glaciers in Alaska to a little island. It was obviously the most beautiful scene I've ever seen in my life, but I was the whole time, like my mom sitting next to me, I'm just...
The bumps don't bother me.
I can't look.
I was up with them, so I mentioned. So I'm also going for my instrument, which is a different rating. So that gets you to fly in the clouds and a bunch of other things, right? So that's super important for safety factor. And then I'll eventually get my commercial as well, and then maybe early retirement job someday or something. It opens up different avenues for me later. So I may as well just get it done. But anyway, I was up with my instructor the other day, starting my instrument stuff, and it was bumpy, I guess. And he's over there, not white, but you could tell he was not happy.
Really?
I'm like, really? It just doesn't bother me. I'm like, it does not faze me at all.
I understand the idea of being discombobulated in the air, which is when planes crash, when pilots don't know if they're upside down or whatever. There's a great documentary on, I don't know if it's Netflix or if it's like Prime, one of those, on Don McLean's The Day the Music Died. Bye, Miss American Pie. And they're talking about, like, this might be the greatest song ever written, and it's all about the Big Bopper and, who was it? Richie Valens. And who was the other guy? He was like 17 years old. And that plane went down, and they called it The Day the Music Died. These 3 pop stars go down.
Right.
And it was like, they're at the airport, and weather's kind of an issue. But I didn't realize they didn't get but 2 miles down the road when that crashed.
I should know that one. So a lot of people, I mean,
But they said the pilot got discombobulated.
Disoriented.
Yeah. Less than 2 miles down the road, thought he was still going up and was going down and literally dove right into the ground.
I mean, I'm not going to nerd out and kill our listeners, but there are aeromedical things that happen to you when you fly into, what they call IMC or clouds. And when that happens, especially when you're still accelerating and climbing, it's even potentially more hazardous, and more than likely this would happen.
But
the funny thing
is come out of that cloud and you'd be like, oh my God, that's the ground. I got to pull up and get the other direction, but it just doesn't
If you're
work.
in a condition where it's stalled or it maybe, if they're only a few hundred feet, there's just not time to, unfortunately to fix that. And that's why you do that instrument training, and that's why you practice and practice. And
and that's what killed Kobe, right?
Yeah. It is.
Wasn't that sort of the thing that they were?
That one's, whether the pilot was pushed into conditions that he shouldn't have been there,
he was.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I read those reports. A lot of pilots do. A lot of people do. Morbid curiosity, or for pilots, it's more like how the pilot screw up. I don't want to do that, at least for me. So I read those things a lot. And actually, I never read the Richie Valens one. I should probably go look at it.
Yeah.
It was. But.
Yeah. What was that? Like, I'm trying to think of the years that was. 50s, 60s?
Yeah, I don't know.
Something like that. But yeah.
That sounds right.
Buddy Holly was the third in that plane.
Right.
Yeah. Who was like 17. It's always crazy when you hear about those two where it's like, I can't remember who else was supposed to be in that plane. Like Hank Williams or something, one of those. And you're like, well,
Glass half full.
I'm a little like, what's that?
Glass half full. He wasn't in the airplane.
Yeah, no, totally. It's the same thing with Metallica with the bus thing where it's like Kirk Hammett won like a coin toss and Cliff Burton got the good bunk or whatever, and then he's the one that died. And I think there was something with Randy Rhoads and the Big Bopper one. Like there were other guys that were supposed to be on that flight.
Yeah.
And one of them was like, I kind of got a cold. I'm just going to stay at the hotel and then do the bus in the morning, whatever. And it's like, whole world changed. It's like, holy shit, so could have bet on that. 9/11, I think, what's his name was supposed to be on that Boston to LA flight. The big actor who hates the Chinese or whatever, Asians. Got that Asian hate crime. Mark Wahlberg was supposed to be on one of those flights. You're like, damn.
Well, remember, he was gonna fight the guys. He's like, if I was on those planes when 9/11 happened, there would have been no 9/11.
Yeah.
I think he even said that one.
That hindsight shit is hilarious because the truth of the matter is every instruction.
So you're there. Yeah.
Well, at that time, there was no, like, this isn't a kamikaze pilot mission.
Right.
Like, there's always a negotiation, and so the best thing to do is keep calm, listen to the terrorists, and let's get the plane on the ground. Like, that was just protocol.
Right.
So the idea that you'd bum rush in the moment, which is why the last plane in Skanksville, Pennsylvania or whatever.
That's one story.
Yeah, they were getting phone conversation with family. Like,
you're right. No, that's a fact, right? Like you overheard it, right?
Yeah, and they were like, dude, they're gonna fly this into a fucking building, so do what you got to do to kick the shit out of them. Yeah. Crazy.
The reason why it went down is debatable.
Which one?
I actually, for the record, I believe the narrative that's out there, but the conspiracy theorists say others.
What you mean, like
theorist.
There you go.
As far as like the government being behind 9/11?
Yeah,
dude.
No, not that far.
I get in the building 6, and that's about as far as I can go. I'm not like one of those people like, they were doing this as
building 7's the step too
no,
far.
I didn't mean to like that.
6 and 7. Like I look at that, I'm like, it's a little weird.
What are you
I
talking
just meant
about?
the jet. I think perhaps it could have been shot down.
Really, the first planes that went into the
the one that went down Pennsylvania.
I see what you mean. Well, they've done a lot of documentaries that I've seen on that, and they swear they didn't.
Yeah,
that they were about to.
Yeah,
but dude, if since COVID has taught us anything, it's don't believe the narrative that they're full of shit. So who knows? I remember watching the Loose Change documentary and just going, "You guys are batshit."
I don't watch that stuff because
we were interviewing I don't know, director, whoever made that film on Drew and Mike at the time, and nobody was in the mood to hear, it's some conspiracy. Like, no, it was like, fuck you. And so we just beat the shit out of the guy. But I remember watching that documentary because I can get sucked into it. I don't even think the moon's real. That someone put it there, obviously, because I saw a cool documentary on it. So I can be swayed. But that one, no. I went, this is stupid.
Yeah.
That one and the other documentary that someone made me watch, who I fucking trust their word to. I can't remember what. Damn it. but it was like all the rage for a while about like, oh, if you think there's going to be an open parking space, there will be one. Do you know that stupid document? No. And I watched that and I was like, horse shit. Yeah. No.
Occam's razor for the most part for me.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Well, it's the same thing if you buy a white car. All you see are white cars on the road that are exactly like yours. It's just you're paying more attention.
If you're looking for a mattress, it's all you're seeing.
You'll find a mattress.
Yeah. Yep. Well, you want to hang out?
No, I need to go.
You got to get out of here?
Glad it sounds good. Glad you guys are on the air. So.
Yeah. Thank you, buddy. Of
course.
Much appreciated. Do you have, because you won't, I might hook up with you tomorrow. We'll see.
We're going to try.
But,
hot.
Yeah. Do you have a pick for the Super Bowl?
I'm abstaining because I know that my little text group that I'm in, with Vote and all those guys, it's a divided group right now. So.
Why?
Well, he has his Michigan angle, and
so what, like Jake
the
Moody
Tom Brady, the Tom Brady angle and all that.
With Purdy.
He just right, and I'm sick and tired of seeing Kansas City win. So I think I'm on 49ers.
Okay,
side, not just because you're in front of me.
I appreciate that.
But this is the least interesting Super Bowl I think I can remember.
Really?
Yeah.
Dan Patrick said that too. He's getting a lot of shit.
It'll be interesting to see what the ratings are because I hear a lot of people. I mean, Detroiters are pissed off just because we're not.
Oh yeah, I know they're fucking right.
It might be the bubble that we're all in, but
it
seems like I'm hearing a lot of like, I'm just not watching this year. Just not interested. I'm not interested.
It's just wild. It's just too big of an event.
I don't get emotionally attached to the sport. When they lost a few weeks ago, it was super unfortunate. But I was like, okay, what's on TV?
Yeah,
and I'm over it.
Yeah.
It's just how I'm wired. I'm sorry, but I don't want to watch it just because I'm sick of seeing KC. And frankly, I know the 49ers are good, and I've seen them in it a couple times, and so I'm just like,
I get that.
That's really where it's at.
I think the Lions being there would have been really special. And the amount of people that have reached out to me as if I had something to do with the game and I fucked the Lions.
Well, no, they already rigged it from the start. It's the NFL.
Right, exactly.
I've been hearing nothing but that about it. The Kansas City's going to win and Travis is going to propose to Taylor on the 50-yard line.
Yeah, I hope that happens. I hope that happens so much because of the anti-Swifties that are out there are going to die and it's going to be hilarious.
No,
my Instagram feed is already these conspiracies over and over. They're going to win and Taylor Swift's going to get it proposed to. It's all I can see. I just want that to happen just so all these conspiracies
let my 49ers win. No. Let my 49ers win, and then they'll go away.
Enough. It'll be funny.
The Lions are going to have their spin. I recommend, if you have a few minutes, go read A Letter to Detroit by Alex Anzalone that he wrote.
I heard about it. I haven't read it.
It's really good. It'll fire you up.
Okay.
It'll fire you up. I think it's a letter to the city. Or a letter to Detroit or something like that. But it's very cool. Very cool. Showing what these guys, their mindset, and he addresses the fourth down calls by Coach Campbell, and it sounds like that entire locker room to this day is like 100% behind it.
Good.
Which I believe.
Yeah.
So lots of positive things. The Lions are on the up, and teams like my Niners are, who knows? But they're
well. If I don't talk to you, I hope you have a good Sunday.
Thank you. I'll be interested.
I'll tune in for the Taylor Swift proposal. I'm not a Swiftie.
That'll make me not be a Swiftie. I've been kind of a Swiftie. So
I was watching the Grammys the other night, and she was standing up for every performance.
Yeah.
I'm like, can you sit down? There are people behind you trying to watch.
She does it all the time. She's always done that.
Yeah.
It's weird. She's like a super fan. I thought it was cute at first. I even think I said something a couple weeks ago. Like, it's kind of cool that she's not too cool for the room.
Yeah.
It reminds me almost of like when you go to a football game and you know where the family section is and friends, and they're the only section of the stadium that refuses to do the wave or stand up and really go nuts when the whole building is. And it's like, they're snobby, too close to it. And so when you have Taylor Swift in the middle of that singing her ass off,
I think it's the media.
To every
Mostly
song.
It's the media. I mean, she's a little annoying for sure.
Yeah.
She's got an annoying personality, but they all do. And I think the media's just cramming her down our throats, and that's the problem.
She's the safest person you could throw at anything.
Yeah.
It's true.
She's very non-controversial. She doesn't have too much problems going on in her life. You can throw her on anything, and it's a safe bet.
Yeah. So. Well, I know a lot of parents are thrilled to have someone that's not gonna like use my tits and ass to.
She's not out there singing WAP in the middle.
No, and so many of them, even like Miley Cyrus. It's like, oh great, I have this girl that my kids can look up to and blah. Then they hit a certain age and they take off all their clothes and start dry humping everything on stage. And so it's like, fuck, Taylor Swift's like 35 now. Like she is what she is. Forever.
She's smart. She's talented.
Yeah. Billionaire.
Go get it.
Yeah.
And I give her some credit. The stories that always come out of her camp are positive. Like she gives million. She gave a lot of money to
50,
all the,
like $50,000 bonuses to each person
all of
on
her staff
crew. Yeah, which you should. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
To me, it's like that's just a no fucking brainer.
If you're making that much money, there's a lot of people who have to support your show to make that money. You got to support them too.
Yeah. Yep. I got taught that at an early age. Drew and Mike were really good about that stuff. They never, like Mark and I, it was like when we did our when we produced the CDs that we'd put out. And it was like, it's all going to charity, all proceeds. And I remember, Mike Novak, our lawyer, going through huge hoops to get it so that it was like, oh, here's a tragedy that happened. Write him a check for 10 grand to the family. Firefighter died, cop died, whatever. And it was like the amount of red tape to just cut someone a check and give it to him is mind blowing. You wouldn't believe it. Yeah. And so we had this all worked out, but it was like Mark and I worked a lot of fucking hours after the show doing that. And then we'd bring it to Drew and he'd go, add this, cut this, change this, change the level on this. Like a lot of that stuff. But at the end of it, it was like, oh, I understand this is a charity thing, but here's 30 grand for each of you. You know what I mean? Like, boom. Like, no, you guys are not.
That's good. Yep.
So it was like, yeah, they knew to take care of their guys and they always did, so that is never lost on me. It's like, like that's what you should do. And so those reports are cool when you hear of Taylor Swift, like giving $100,000 to each guy. Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
I think it's cool.
All right.
All right, dude.
Appreciate
you.
it.
I'll be in touch tomorrow and see if we can hook up for dinner.
Yep, we'll try to do that.
If not, maybe this weekend, whatever.
Okay. All right.
Get you out of here. Much to the pleasure of Ryan Fiorini, who just commented, aviation nerd out, please.
Hey, Ryan.
Then Amy Wilson said, not OG Eases, sexy Eases. We got a lot of sexy Eases in here.
He's sexy Eases, yeah.
Everyone likes
It's always good to see him. You should see his ass,
Take
too.
care.
Beautiful ass. All right. See you, Trav. The Super Bowl is this weekend. I know you're not a big football guy, Garrett, which is fine. Yeah. This story came out today, and I was thinking bullshit on it. There's all kinds of always weird stories out of the Super Bowl and whatnot. And whenever you get stuff that's not verified, they're not naming names or teams, something's amiss. And it was that a player was attacked by a coyote. And they're like, ooh, someone from one of the teams in this year's big game was attacked by a coyote. It started on social media. Somebody on the Niners or Chiefs had some sort of run-in with a wild animal where the teams are staying while they're in town. So the person that posted it on Twitter, an NFL player in town for the Super Bowl, was attacked by a coyote last night at Lake Las Vegas, according to a source. A press release from the Henderson PD said that they had no report or record of any incident involving a coyote nor a pro athlete. So I will tell you, I've seen plenty of coyotes. There's a few around.
I was about to say, is it one coyote or multiple? Because I feel like if it's one coyote, one of our football players should be able to take a single coyote. I feel like I could take a single coyote.
You would think, but the reality is there's no fucking way. And I called my brother, and I was talking to him about it. I'm like, does this story make any sense to you? Because he's in Arizona. So he sees tons of coyotes. He's like, no fucking way.
They leave people alone.
They run. Like, he's like, I can't even think of a situation like if you're playing on a golf course there and it's a desert course, so they leave, they got the fairway and the green and tee box, but everything else is desert landscape. It's a bitch to play in that stuff.
I bet.
But there's signs posted everywhere, like watch when you're backing up where you step, because there could be a rattlesnake sitting right there. You hardly see him. You step on him and he's going to bite your ass.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of that, but he's like, I can't even, like, you would never even get close to a coyote.
No, not even a pack. Like, they don't really attack people or go towards people. They'll dig in your garbage. They might take a dog out who's left out unattended, but
even that,
like
even that, you know what they do? They fuck with you. Yeah. So in my brother's backyard, there's a fence, and I think most of the fences are like coyote proof. So the way they're constructed, they can't climb them, which is probably bullshit too. But they at night, you can just see their eyeballs out there, and they howl, and it's beautiful. I've recorded it, and they're just all howling at the moon. But they'll fuck with your dog. They fuck with Shelby out there, and so Shelby just paces back and forth at the fence line, barking at these damn coyotes, and they mess with her every night.
Oh yeah,
every single night. Yeah,
I see it all the time with squirrels and our dog. It's animals just kind of know, like, you're trapped. Fuck you.
Yeah. Or I don't know what they're after. my brother said they're trying to get Shelby out of the yard, and then maybe as a pack of coyote dogs, they
like
could
a whole
take her
pack
out.
could probably take a dog.
Yeah. But some of those things are big as shit, those coyotes. But he's like, no, dude, they won't mess with a human at all. He's like, even if you'd literally have to go into a den where a mom's protecting the babies. Like, what asshole is out that far out into the wild?
Especially for a football player at Super Bowl in the Vegas area. He's
doesn't
probably
make
in
any
Vegas.
sense. Doesn't make any sense. So if you're hearing that story, just know that it's almost certainly bullshit. You know? And when why wouldn't you be able to go, oh yeah, it was a 49ers player, it was the punter, and he was.
I was about to say, whatever team it is, I'm not rooting for him for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you're rooting for the 49ers.
You can't take it to Coyote. I don't want you on the field.
Yeah. The other thing that happens during the Super Bowl this week is Patrick Mahomes' dad is going to get shit-faced and get pulled over. And it's Patrick Mahomes Sr. He was a pro baseball player, and his kid's the greatest football player on planet Earth, probably the greatest football player that's ever played. You know, he just hasn't finished his career yet. But if the way it's going, he's probably the best player to ever play. Patrick Mahomes' brother, Tad or whatever his name is, sounds like a dipshit. But, you know, Patrick is so good. But his dad gets pulled over, had an open can of Coors, drinking a Coors in his car, and told police, yeah, I had a few beers. And they're like, all right. So they arrested him for drunk driving on Saturday.
You always say two. That's the number.
I know, but I feel like two is
it's
like they're
going
to know.
Now they're going to know. But
they're going to know.
It used to just be you say two.
Yeah. If you say I had one, like that was the thing, like, maybe I had one. So if it's on my breath, they know you're full of shit.
Oh, yeah.
But you don't want to say, I guess a few is too
Two is
many.
always the safe bet because you'd be like, you know, I had two of them, you know, I had a couple with dinner and I'm fine, you know, because two is like, he's probably not drunk. Couple beers.
Yeah.
They don't know it was two handles.
I think they just don't fuck around. Back in the day, before you were even born, you could, dude, ask your dad.
Oh,
like,
I've heard the stories. It used to just be like, oh, I'm taking these. You guys get home.
Do you know how fucked up you had to be for someone to take your keys? Like, next level, dude. I mean, I remember driving with Marcel once. I'm not proud of this, but I was behind the wheel, and it was like, I'm operating the clutch and the stick and the steering wheel. You're handling the brake. And he was down, like, on his hands and knees. We're fucking hammered. Now, we're out in the middle of Nowheresville. We're going to meet up with some chicks or something at some stupid party at 1 a.m. And it's like, dude, that happened. That happened. And he's literally on his hands and knees, and I'm like, brake. And he's just applying the brake with his hands. I mean, just a disaster. And even if we got pulled over then, there was a good chance the cop was going to go,
get off the roads.
Give me your keys. Find your own hitchhike if you have to. But nowadays, you just can't do it. But it's like, Mr. Mahomes Sr. doesn't seem to get this. He was arrested in Tyler, Texas, shortly before 8 o'clock, released on bail the next day. According to an affidavit for the arrest obtained by the New York Post, said he told police he had a few beers while watching a game at a local bar. When he was asked, why are you drinking and driving? He'd been driving slower than other cars. Big mistake. Smart drunk drivers will at least set the cruise control. Yeah. Yep. And do it that way. But if you're putzing along like, oh, yeah, you stand out too. So, and they discovered his registration had expired in 22.
That's another one. Like, if you're going to do some crime, I always tell people too, I was like, look, get your windshields fixed, check your back, tail lights, everything like that before you commit any crimes. Because if you're going to commit a crime, that's what the cops are going to get you on.
Hell yeah. So that's why he gets pulled over too, because he's got expired tags from 22. Like, dude, you're Patrick Mahomes' son. Patrick Mahomes is worth $500 million minimum. Like, he faces up to 10 years in prison now and a $10,000 fine because this would be his third DWI. So he's really not good at learning these lessons. He spent 40 days in jail for an offense in 2019, but he just had to serve on weekends. So on the weekend he'd go in there and serve, and his son's on top of the world in 2019, so he probably thinks he's hot shit. But he also got popped in 2008. Patrick Mahomes himself, his kid, has said little about this, but on Monday night he said, he's doing good. Don't really want to get into it too much, but he's doing good for whatever the situation is. It's a family matter, so I'll keep it to the family. That's really all I'll say at this point. They don't have a travel restriction on him, so they assume he'll be at the Super Bowl on Sunday. So yeah, can we not get a driver for Patrick Mahomes Sr.? There's just too many options.
Not
now.
even just a driver. I mean, most places you can probably find a bar within walking distance. That's how I did it. It's like as soon as I hit 21 and I could drink, I used to live by the Winter Garden at 7 Farmington. It was my favorite bar because I could walk right down there, get shit-faced drunk, and walk my ass home. Or
I used to
stumble
do
my
that
ass home.
in Royal Oak, East Lansing, Kalamazoo.
Yep.
You know, I was in college towns and party towns.
That's the best spot to get drunk because you can just walk your ass home.
Exact. Tyler, Texas. I don't know what that scene's like, but you got to imagine for someone like that, first off with Ubers and Lyfts, it's just it's a weird thing because when you've had a couple drinks, you can feel it, but you're still of decent mind.
Yeah.
When you get to that, there's a point you get to where it's like, I'd fail a fucking test, but you still feel like you can do it. Like, I'm not that fucked up. I can make it home. No problem. I'm just going to drive careful. And that's the mistake people make. And they're impaired enough. I was going to say drinking's
the dangerous one because it gives you that confidence.
Oh, yeah. Big time. It's the same confidence that makes you fuck an ugly chick or guy, whatever. And, it makes you do stupid shit.
Oh, yeah.
Talk shit, get into fights when you shouldn't. There's all kinds of stuff that goes on. But I 100% know that feeling of like, I don't need a cab. I don't need a lift. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like, are you though?
I don't know. I've always had this little thing in my brain I like to call the high tax because I like my weed, right? So when I get home, I usually will start smoking after work and stuff like that. And if I need to get anything, if I need to get groceries or anything, I call it the high tax. It means I have to call Uber Eats and pay the tax to them.
Really?
I just pay the extra money.
See, that's smart. I think your generation is smarter like that.
You know what? I hit my pen. I need to go get milk, but I can't drive right now. I got to pay the high tax.
Really?
It's my choice to get high. I got to pay the tax for having to
deliver it. Do you really
deliver
think you couldn't drive? And I'm not encouraging you to.
Oh, no. I know myself, and I know people who drive on it all the time, and I don't know how they do
so
it,
do I.
I know myself, and I know where I'm slow. I have bad reaction. I should not be behind the wheel if I have bad reaction time. Somebody can brake check me.
Do you have good hand-eye coordination?
I'm a guitarist and a drummer. I have great hand-eye coordination.
Okay. But are you athletic?
No, I'm fit, but not athletic.
Okay. So you like if we're throwing the baseball, football, swinging a bat,
throw
can you
football,
do that?
I can throw baseball, yeah.
Okay.
I played baseball back as a kid and stuff, so I can do all that. I'm just not. I don't get into sports. I don't play anything. I don't run or do any exercise stuff.
Gotcha.
I just work physical labor. So.
Yeah, well that'll help. But
yeah,
it's a weird thing, man. I'm glad it's for the best, no doubt about it. That this generation really seems to take that seriously.
Yeah.
About driving intoxicated, but that's next level. I honestly don't know anybody that's like, I smoked a joint. I can't drive. Like I've never heard that.
Oh, that's me.
Mouth.
I'm that guy. I'm the first person.
That's how
easy. Sorry, dude, you're driving.
Too.
I even I'll plan it out too. Like if I'm gonna get high in a day or something, I'd be like, hey, we got any plans first? I try to check everything, and then if no, and I'm like, okay, cool, cool. If I do this, if you're gonna stay sober, or if I stay sober, you do this.
Wow. You're describing conversations that never took place.
That's what I'm saying. I think I've had enough experiences from other people and hearing their horror stories that I was just like, I'm not gonna even try and fuck with that.
Dude, we had situations where it was like, hey, so-and-so's the designated driver. For whatever reason, they got a big tournament in the morning and they can't drink, or they got the SAT. Whatever, they're grounded. They got to be home at a certain hour and they can't come home shit-faced.
Yeah.
Like, those were things. Even then, it was like, you'd pile 5 people in your car and be like, I'm driving. And it's like, dude, I'm here, I'm sober, I'll drive. Fuck off, get in the back seat.
No, we've had a couple groups because I go to a lot of concerts and stuff, and a lot of people like to get fucked up at concerts. I usually like staying sober at concerts. It's just too many people, and I got my own little mental thing. I don't like being high around like way too many people.
Yeah.
So I always try and do the designated driver thing. We'll pile like 6 kids in the back of a minivan or something. We're all going down there, and it's harder when you're coming back because it's not that they're trying to take the wheel from me. They're just being rambunctious.
Yeah.
Fucking fuck around back there.
Dude, drunks in a car. Yeah.
It's like, you want to turn, I will turn this fucking car around. I'm like, I know how my mom feels.
Yeah. No, thank you. I do not miss those days. I don't miss those days. Being around drunk people sucks when you're sober.
Marcus said we didn't have Uber Eats back in the day. We had to drive the Rams horn hammered.
Yeah, exactly. Marcus, I don't know how old you are, but that's 100%
It's Rams
true.
horn or Denny's. That's the midnight breakfast.
Oh my God, the amount of shit-faced people in Denny's or Rams horn at 2 in the morning.
Oh my God.
Oh, the whole place. But anyway, yeah, I guess we're making way. I mean, out in San Francisco, I can't remember what they're called, but you get cabs there. There's no driver. Like, you just get in a car and it drives you wherever you want to go. I don't like that. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
It's those Teslas. Mark is in his 40s, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, you see them all over. I can't remember the name of them, but there's a certain company, and they you just hop in and it'll drive you where you want. It's wild.
I don't trust self-driving yet. I know it's safer than regular driving, but I like driving.
Yeah.
So I like having the control. I like being able to weave. And I'm one of those people where if I'm not going like 5 over the speed limit, then I'm too slow.
Yeah. Well, it's people's irrational fear of like flying, for instance. And I always say like, yeah, I understand it's safer than driving. You have a way better chance of dying in a car than you ever do in a plane. And it's like, yeah, but if there's a problem up there, you are definitely dying.
Exactly. I can't control a plane. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
No. You know, when you think of cars, we did that story. It was terrifying to listen to, the 911 call, the guy with his family. Was it a Toyota or something? And whatever on it failed, and it just like floored it.
Oh.
And the brakes wouldn't work. None of it would work. And he's just cooking. He's doing 100 and something down the freeway with his family, and he's calling 911, and it ends up like you think, in a horrible crash.
Oh, yeah.
Dead. And it's like, yeah, that's what happens when machines are in charge and they fail on some level. It's like, no. So I get that. I totally understand that kind of fear of like, self-driving cars, but it doesn't scare me that much, I suppose.
I guess they're not going fast enough. You're just doing residential. I might be all right with it, but
but then what happens when it floors
on a freeway? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If I'm flooring in a residential, there's enough stuff to stop me before I get too fast.
Mm.
But if I'm on a freeway or something, there's a nice little straightaway, and the car decides, "Hey, you're going 120, buddy."
Yeah,
I don't like that.
I feel like in that situation, now everyone's going to react different and how they react in the moment. I feel like you could gradually go over to the wall, and then just
run it,
fucking grind yourself to a stop. But just lean into that wall, you know?
That's the thing is, as I've seen, like, I used to do trucking and stuff for a while, and one of our guys flipped a truck once because he was trying to do that grind to his stop. The lady cut him off, basically, and hit the front of his truck, and the front of his truck, whatever, was having a problem, so his best bet was to get into the wall and try and slow his truck down with it, whatever he could. And he caught something on that wall that just flipped the whole truck onto his side.
Yeah, I could see that. Because there is brakes in those walls.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. But I figure if you could get yourself slowed down enough where you're not doing 120 miles an hour,
and plus,
with your whole family in the car.
If they have self-driving, a lot of those cars also have a crash detection. So it might be able to tell, like, if you hit that thing into a wall or something or run up against something, it might be able to shut itself down.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I'm not an expert on self-driving cars.
No, me either. It's out of my...
I've got a 2013 Focus I've been holding together with zip ties. And I love it.
Yeah. You're about that age. You'll get out of that
little PCR chipped little guy. I love him.
A little what?
It's a little PCR chipped Focus.
Yeah.
Your neighbors hate me, by the way.
Why?
No, not that they actually do. Just like, coming down Franklin Road, I see all these nice houses, all this nice uppity, snooty people on the side of the road walking around doing their jogs. I was listening to the Melvins full blast, windows down, and this ratted out Ford Focus with a low life plate on the front.
And that's you.
Like, oh, I belong here.
Yeah. You're fine. Don't worry. They need a little bit of this in their life. Yeah. I was telling people when I first moved in here how much it drove me nuts because you'd like go to the mailbox and see your neighbor and they just grab their mail in about face, turn around and walk away. Yeah. It's like, all right, snooty bitch. You can't even wave at your neighbor. Oh, yeah. Like, it was weird.
We had a neighbor like that.
It was weird.
My last place. It was Livonia, too. It wasn't even a bad area, but he built his house, personal to him and everything like that. And he was always weird about it. And he was such an ass. He called in city inspector on us when we were handstanding at night because the noise was keeping him up. Even though when we moved in, he bragged about how he had the double-plated window so he didn't hear the road. I'm like, you just hate us. I get it. That's fine.
Yeah.
He didn't like that. My brother and I were working on little project cars. We get those engines get pretty loud.
Yeah, they do. They do. It's nothing like Arizona, though, man. I'm telling you, Arizona and California is next level with engine noise.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. It's terrifying. Well, I feel like it scares the shit out of me, honestly. They're so loud.
You get so many of those guys who try and do the straight piping cut, and I think that's one of... California might be a little bit better on that now because they really don't like when you straight pipe your cars, but I don't know about Arizona. I could see that totally being...
motorcycles. Yep. When you can ride motorcycles 12 months a year. Yeah, they do. And they're loud as shit. Anyways, Elon Musk back in the news.
Oh, boy. I heard about this one, actually.
Yeah. I don't know where this goes, but Gina Carano was never a huge fan of hers.
Famed Nazi.
Yeah, right. Are you a Star Wars guy?
Kinda, I was until Disney bought it, like everybody else.
So you didn't get into like Mandalorian?
No, I didn't get the Mandalorian and all that stuff.
I thought that was pretty cool. My mom and I got into it over the pandemic, and it was like the baby Grogu, and I just loved him. It was like Baby Yoda. I love that guy. And so I kind of have that connection with my mom. We were both watching that at the same time, and he was so adorable. But she was in that, and I didn't think she was great, but it was just like, she kind of fits for this role. You know,
well, she was like an ex-MMA fighter or UFC or something.
Yeah, she was.
So I don't expect her to be the best actress.
No.
They just needed a strong-looking woman to
and they got one.
Be a strong woman.
And strong woman. Like the South Park.
Yep.
Is that that strong woman dates PC principal, right?
I think so. I'm looking up right now.
Yeah, I'm almost positive. Anyway, Gina Carano filed a wrongful termination lawsuit against Disney with the support of Elon Musk. He offered legal help to anyone discriminated against by Disney or its subsidiaries. Carano announced that her lawsuit was prompted in part by an offer from Elon, who said X, Twitter, would fund the legal bill of anyone who is unfairly treated by your employer due to posting or liking something on this platform. That's a cool twist. I didn't at first I was like, oh, she's famous and so he's jumping in on this. But it was no. She got in all kinds of trouble for something she reposted on Twitter.
Yep.
And that's where he was like, oh, okay. Anybody that's gotten in shit for something they posted on Twitter, we'll handle your
That's what he
defense.
was saying. He's going to throw out money for every legal defense for getting your job back.
Great. I love it.
She's got to go up against Disney, and if you need to go up against Disney, you might as well have somebody like Elon Musk funding it, because you're going to need every bit of that penny.
Exactly. So the actress, her lawsuit was cheered on by many people, especially conservatives who have long called out Disney's leftward drift. I think it's a little more than a leftward drift.
More of a fall off.
Yeah, I think it's just off the cliff to left. So Musk posted Tuesday, if you were discriminated against by Disney or its subsidiaries, ABC, ESPN, Marvel, etc., just reply to this post to receive legal support. The post was a follow-up to a previous one in which he pointed to an ABC chart reportedly sent to showrunners, including producers at Disney, that listed its so-called inclusion standards, which is just,
Well, you saw the wheel.
Oh yeah, we've seen
went over the wheel.
Yeah. There's quite a few wheels actually out there, and they're all terrifying. They're all such nonsense. But it's basically just like preferred version of racism, like acceptable racism.
How racist are you today?
Yeah, and it's like, oh yeah, we're going to be super racist, but we're doing it under the guise of helping other people, so it's not racist. Well, it is. At the end of the day, it's still fucking racist, and it's wrong. So I love that he's calling this out. So their so-called inclusion standards, Musk called the standards institutionalized racism and sexism. The inclusion chart sought to increase the inclusion of underrepresented groups, that's what they all do, in both on-screen and behind-the-scenes roles. The chart pushed the company to meet inclusion quotas, such as requiring that 50% or more of regular and reoccurring characters, written characters, come from underrepresented groups. 50% or more of regular and recurring actors come from unrepresented groups. Her lawsuit, Carano's, alleges she was wrongfully terminated, losing millions of dollars in income, seeks to force Lucasfilm to recast her. I don't see Lucasfilm doing that. No. I don't know how you force someone to recast them. But hey, if she wants to take $40 million from them, I'm all for it. Because, whether you liked her as an actress or not, I can tell you absolutely the only reason she was fired is because her political views didn't align with theirs. Yeah. That's what it was. And honestly, her tweet I thought was extremely relevant.
Yeah, I was going to say it was
not off the mark.
It wasn't even not that it was relevant off the mark. It wasn't that offensive to anyone. It just said, hey, judging your neighbors is bad. We should probably be nice to each other.
Exactly.
What a fucking take.
And it went just invoking. Now, they can invoke Nazism and Hitler and all that all they want against Trump. Like, they can say that all day, every day.
He's literally Hitler.
Yeah. But for someone like this, how dare you even invoke the Holocaust or blah, blah, blah. But it was going to a larger point, and I'll read you her text or her tweet. And it wasn't even hers. I think she just retweeted someone.
Yeah.
So she was axed by Disney in 2021 after she posted, a screenshot of another post that warned of the current political climate resembling Nazi Germany. Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children, because history is edited. Most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? So true. If you can dehumanize someone, and that's the whole point of
calling them Hitler,
because obviously you can punch Hitler.
It's like, he's not Hitler, but if you say he is, enough people get ginned up about it. Yeah. It's okay to hate Hitler.
And it's okay to do whatever you want to someone as evil as Hitler. If you think someone's actually Hitler and you're stopping Hitler,
exactly. Nobody's going to stop you.
Everything's on the table. Everything's on the table. If you have to cheat, if you have to lie, if you have to beat them up physically, that's all fair game because they're Hitler and I'm trying to stop Hitler. So for the greater good, anything is acceptable behavior.
Exactly.
And that's how that leads to it. When you turn people on your neighbors like they did in Germany in the 40s, that's how that got there, where it was like, you've dehumanized them. Yeah. They're not neighbors. They're not the guy that you talk to every morning, when you're getting your mail. It's not them anymore. They're subhuman, and at that point, anything's acceptable.
And that's one of the big
And that's
things.
how you get people turning people into the Gestapo. That's how you get to that level.
No, everyone thinks it was just, they were always like that in Germany. And then all of a sudden, Hitler flipped the switch and they just radicalized.
Yeah.
It was not like that at all. It was many years of, hey, your neighbor's a problem. This guy's a problem. This guy's a problem. And they were slow about it. They didn't just start with saying all the Jews are bad. They just started saying, that guy's bad for this reason. That guy's bad for this reason. Oh, look at that. Yeah. They have this in common. Maybe they're Jewish.
Yeah.
And then you start blaming them all, and here you go.
It's how you get to the point where it's like, no. We don't want to cancel anybody. We don't want to silence anybody or crush anyone's First Amendment rights. But when it comes to Alex Jones, in this case, and it's like anybody with half a brain that's paid any attention to this stuff goes, oh, no. Alex Jones is the first domino.
Yeah.
If you can get everybody to agree that, we need to all be afraid of Alex Jones and what he might say.
He was the easiest target.
Once that domino falls, the rest. And then you see it, boom, boom, boom. It pops up everywhere that people are targeted, silenced. And it's like, once you've opened that Pandora's box, it's impossible to close it. Impossible. And if you've listened to Alex Jones for any length of time, you realize there's a lot more to Alex Jones than just what the media portrayal has been.
He's got
a
his
lot more.
outburst, crazy actions and stuff. But if you look into his paperwork and his research, it's actually thought out. It's scary sometimes.
And I'm not someone that's going to sit here and go to bat for Alex Jones.
No.
I haven't heard enough of Alex Jones. But what I have heard, you go, this isn't a moron that's just fucking with people. Like,
I think he's a little crazy. He digs way into things, and it's kind of fun to watch. But I'll put it like this. I don't take anything he says 100% seriously, but I will look into the topics that he looks into.
Yeah. And the fact is, as time goes on, how often is he proved right?
Unfortunately,
way
more than you want.
Way more than he's proved wrong. And not to get on a rant supporting Alex Jones, but it's such an easy thing to see if you know where this goes. It's like, no. You don't get to just turn that on and turn it off. Once you turn it on, there's no coming back from that. So Disney faced massive backlash for its actions against Carano, while some castmates defended her and her gracious character. Today's an important day for me. I'm filing a lawsuit against Lucasfilm and Disney. After my 20 years of building a career from scratch and during the regime of former CEO Bob Chapek, Lucasfilm made this statement on Twitter. The Mandalorian, Gina Carano, is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there are no plans for her to be in the future. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their culture and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. If that's what you got out of her social media posts, that's what you wanted to get out of them. That is a moronic statement on every level. For a massive corporation like Disney or Lucasfilm, that's your takeaway from Gina. You just wanted to get fucking rid of Gina Carano.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you wanted to do. So just say it. It doesn't matter if there's any truth to it. That's what scares the shit out of me.
And that's one of the things I think you hear out of a lot of Hollywood people where they're like, there's a lot more right-wing people out there that you wouldn't even know about in Hollywood, but they don't talk about it because they lose the jobs.
Of course.
So I think she was one of those people who was okay with talking about it and lost the job.
There's a handful of them, and they're mocked without mercy, and some of them maybe have career. You're talking Scott Baio or something where they come after him, or who was it? Ricky Schroeder gets all kinds of shit. And I'm not defending these guys. I don't know much about them, but it seems like from the face of it, like Scott Baio, I don't know. It sounded like he was just a vocal Trump supporter. I don't know if there's anything more to it.
But he's literally Hitler, Mike.
But he's Hitler, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He supported Hitler.
I love the fucking people that go, yeah, his fucking career's nothing. What a loser. Yeah, what is this, 1985? It's like, dude, that guy had 3 smash hit TV shows that he was the star of. Like, don't make me defend Scott Baio, but give me a break. What? All these people bitching about this guy's a loser, never done anything. Like, are you kidding me right now?
It's like,
do you have any idea how hard it is to land a fucking sitcom, let alone it be successful and you're the star of? Nearly impossible.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's, I mean, come on. Don't just throw people's careers away. And But they don't care. They will. What are you reading over there?
I was trying to get the original Gina Carano tweet, but it's weirdly hard to find.
Oh, wow. Shocking.
I'm going through a lot of things. I've checked her X. It's not there anymore. I've gone through Google, any images. I've tried pulling up Firefox and DuckDuckGo.
Crazy. Well, I don't know how this will play out. Maybe we should get a lawyer on to talk about some of this. Someone that in that kind of field, because I'd be interested. But I know that for the most part, you can fire people for whatever.
I was gonna say, don't tease that too much. You get a lot of people thinking the smug lawyer's coming back.
Yeah, right. I don't think he'd want to go down that road. Well, maybe he would, but he would always say that you can fire anybody for any reason at any time. Unless it's like I fired them because they're gay, because they're fat, because they're whatever.
I don't know. I got fired for depression before. It'd be. I think I didn't fight them. Like I might have been able to fight them on it, but I also didn't care. I'll put it like this: it was a video rental store in 2016, so there was no video rental. I didn't want to be there. Yeah. It's okay. I was obviously depressed. I worked at a video rental store in 2016.
Yeah. But if you had a real career and were making real money, I don't think you can fire someone for depression. I don't know if
it was on the paperwork. I wish I still had the paper. It just said
is that in one of those categories, do you know, where they're like you can't fire someone based on race, religion?
Let me see if I can look it up, because it might be a mental health thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but hers, it wasn't. It's weird. She wasn't fired for being a chick. She wasn't fired for being overweight or one of those things that that they automatically point to and go, yeah, this was wrongful termination because she's Indian or she's Sikh, whatever. So but she was 100% fired and blown out of this Star Wars galaxy world for her, which is huge, 100% because of she didn't align with her political views. Yep. So I would think that would be protected, sort of like religion. Political views?
Maybe. It just says color, race, religious affiliation, age, height, disability, weight, or marital status. Those are the big options that say you can't fire in a right-to-work state.
I kind of want to call a lawyer right now. Should I call Ogden really quick?
Up to you. You hook it up. This is on you because I wasn't trained on this one yet.
Yeah, he and I got into a fight not long ago, so I don't know if he'll take my call, but...
Aw.
Yeah.
I've had that.
He was mad at me because of some fucking stupid take I had on football refs. So we'll see if he answers.
By the way, Jeff said seek and destroy as in S-A-I-H-K.
Seek.
You mentioned Sikh for the religion. Yeah. I don't know why that just made me laugh. I looked over like...
I love the Sikhs.
Oh, yeah.
Sikhs are my favorite.
They're the peaceful ones.
Well, fuck.
Hi, you've reached Bill Ogden.
God damn it. Should we call Jay?
We could try.
We could call Jay. Let's see if he answers.
This is exciting for everybody here today.
Can you imagine? I haven't talked to Jay in forever. I blow in a call live on the air.
I don't think you'd expect anything less.
No, probably not. See, no one will take my calls anymore. No one cares. Oh, man.
I try and respond to your text. Don't worry.
Yeah, you do. You're good about that.
I'm usually at work anyways. There's nothing better to do.
Son of a bitch. What time is it? That's only 6 o'clock.
Yeah. Maybe they're at dinner.
I don't know if he gives his number out.
Hi, this is Jay.
Cocksucker. All right. Yeah, if he calls back, I'll answer it and ask him about that. Because I don't know how that falls if he might say, "Yep, fire him." Fucking no big
because
deal.
I don't know if you can get fired for a political affiliation as long as it's not affecting your ability to work, which it wasn't. She just made a tweet on the side. It wasn't bothering her acting. It wasn't affecting how she acts.
Yeah,
it was just a little tweet on the side that had nothing to do with her job.
Well, if either one of them calls back, I'll answer it and we'll ask them. I found this story interesting. You know, these radical groups that want to indoctrinate kids at schools. What are you laughing at now?
Old School 777 says, if firing a gay guy for depression is a thing, Miguel is in trouble.
I see what he did there.
Hey, you're self-employed, man. You got to fire yourself.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I wonder if I could fire myself and sue myself.
Maybe.
How do you prove you're gay? Is that something you
got to get some videos out there?
Yeah. Do I have to stand up in court and be like, oh, man, I got to make out with a guy now? I really
Your Honor,
want
send me the bailiff.
Yeah.
I'll show you how gay I am.
Yeah, I don't think it works like that, but I think it's taking your word kind of thing. So I suppose I could pose as gay, but I don't know. Just say you're bi. Non-practicing bi was my thing.
Yeah, there you go. You can be non-practicing bi.
Non-practicing bi.
Or just do what I do. Every time I threaten somebody, like every time I threaten a woman, just be fair, it's mostly joking.
Yeah.
But I always say, I'll kick the shit out of that bitch and show up in court and drag. We can fight double standards all day. That's my go-to quote.
Dude, it's a great one. It's the same concept of like, dude, believe me, if I'm going to prison for a long time, 100%.
I'm showing up to court with a wig on.
Fuck yes, 100%. You make this. I'm telling every parent I know.
Your Honor, the methamphetamines were not mine.
Yeah, your 16-year-old son is now your fucking daughter, and get the insurance rights.
Yep.
Get the insurance break on it because they charge 16-year-old boys way more than they do 16-year-old girls.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to go down that road, let's go. Let's lean into it.
Oh yeah.
Own it. Have fun with it. So I see story after story after story about these failing schools. Their grades are dog shit. Half the kids can't read or do math at any level. And yet they're all in on these fucking inclusion shit or diversity shit. It's like, I can't understand what we're focusing on any more of this. Send us your emails, walters@detroitcast.com. I'd love your take on it. I know a lot of you guys are parents out there, and you probably have great stories about some of the shit you're dealing with, depending on where you are in the country. But we've got an elementary school in D.C. They held Spirit Week, encouraging young students to show up to school wearing colors inspired by Black Lives Matter and the Pride flag. Now, I'm not exactly sure.
So if I show up in blackface, is that okay? Because I want to support, but
yeah,
I feel like it'd be weird if I just showed up. Like I wear black anyways. I'm right now. I got a black shirt, black pants. My shoes got black on. It's just my style.
Yeah.
So like, how do I go further for Black Lives Matter?
I think that would be good enough. But if you wanted to show up in blackface, I'd be all for it.
I'll give it a go.
I'd be all for it. Like, hey, I'm here to support the team.
Yeah.
So this marriage between the Pride flag and Black Lives Matter. And now I know their president and shit, Patrice Cullors, and her fucking tranny wife, girlfriend, whatever it is, like that we've seen play out in a lot of these scenarios. And I don't know what the reality is to that, why they're funding so many trans groups and Black Lives Matter. It just doesn't seem like it
should mix
a smart marriage.
And this is not for nothing, but historically and even today, Black communities are not very happy with gay communities. They don't get along at all.
No. And I love when they do that with Black and brown communities too, because blacks and browns, as far as I was aware, don't.
Last they seem to checked, MS-13 and the Bloods hate each other.
Yeah, a lot. They don't seem to get along very well at all.
No.
But, I mean, if you can pack a bunch of victimhood into one group and take advantage of it, maybe that's their way of uniting. I don't know. But it's like, seems like you're fighting against the wrong people, because I don't think you guys get along with each other.
No.
So anyways, this is what this school is focused on. Of course, they can lean on it. Oh, it's first week of Black History Month. Great. And so they urge students to urge them in D.C., a Black Lives Matter at School Spirit Week, urging students to focus on race and sexual identity. Kids, that is not a winning formula.
Not in elementary school. What the fuck?
No. They're encouraged to wear red to represent the blood that unites people of all Black African ancestry. Newsflash, I think we all have red blood.
Yep.
So I don't know how they get to steal that. Tuesday, they're supposed to wear black, so that's when you show up with your black face.
Cool.
To represent members of the Black community.
I'll represent them all right.
Yeah, big time.
I'll get the voice and everything.
And on Wednesday, wear green to represent the abundant natural wealth of the continent of Africa. go live in Africa.
Yeah,
it's not what you're supposed to say. I understand that, but it's like, stop holding up these places as like the fucking ultimate paradise.
If it's the greatest place on
then
earth,
go there.
Why aren't you there?
Stay
I
if you
want to go
want,
there now. The way you guys talk about it, I want to go there.
The abundant natural wealth of the continent of Africa. Well, there's human rights abuses galore in Africa, so I don't know. Sounds like a shit box. But
you know, in Africa, if you get caught doing a crime, there's no cops. They'll just drag you out of your house and kill you on the street.
Sure,
I see those videos plenty. Don't need them.
Yeah. So Thursday, for some reason, they're asked to wear colors inspired by the inclusive rainbow flag. Okay, I don't know, again, what this has to do with Africa.
I just feel like it's all the colors
Black
now.
Lives Matter.
They've added so many colors. Just wear normal clothes.
Yeah. And then Friday, students are told to wear logos inspired by BLM or historical black colleges and universities. Okay, so I wear a Howard patch on my shirt, and all of a sudden...
You're supporting. I don't know.
Schools across the country have been criticized by parents for emphasizing identity politics while educational achievements lag. A school in San Francisco paid $250,000 to an organization called Woke Kindergarten. Okay, that's just a grift. Like, if somebody's found a way to guilt you into virtue signaling, and they're just stealing money from you. Yeah. They'll take $250,000 to go in there and shame all your white kids. They don't give a fuck.
DEI companies that just come to you and be like, hey, you guys have too many white people. Pay us $200,000 and we'll tell you how to stop that.
And it's failing across the board.
Oh, yeah.
All over. And it's folding all over. Which is weird. You would think segregating students based on skin color would be a good thing, I thought. But apparently it's failing.
But equal.
Separate, but always equal. It's got to be equal. So, despite the money spent, math and reading scores at the school have continued to take a shit. Yeah, because nobody cares. In the end, these people don't care about your kids.
It doesn't sound like they're learning. It doesn't sound like they're doing anything in class except learning about gender studies.
You know what they're learning to do? Protest. Yeah. They are expert protesters. So if you want to raise a kid that spends the rest of their life taking handouts, playing the victim, and protesting everything... I mean, I suppose that's your right. It's not going to be a very fulfilling life, though. No. If you can shut that noise off and just focus on what you need to do, believe me, the high school shit ends and you don't see 99% of those people ever again. Oh, yeah. Ever. So Seton is the name of this school. Less than half of the students meet their reading or math expectations. Less than half. Let's see. The school has about 353 students in kindergarten through 5th grade. Most are black or Latino. 39% of students met math expectations. 33% met English. Do you know how fucking dumb you have to be, or how horrific your upbringing was, that in kindergarten through 4th grade through 5th grade, you can't do the math or the English? That's incomprehensible to me.
It's like I can maybe understand some of the math on the back end in 4th grade and stuff where they start getting the division stuff. I struggled a little bit. I was bad at learning.
It was boring.
I didn't pay attention. It was boring.
Are they doing fractions then? Or are you still doing
stuff like that? It's like a little
shit?
division, a little bit of fractions and stuff, but it's like
insanity.
I don't get how you don't. It's 4th grade. It's one of those things where it's like once you kind of get the English and the math, you're not doing anything hard. The parents, oh my God, I'm trying to think too many things at once.
Why? No, you're all right.
Oh, you're good.
So Spirit Week, they say, comes as no surprise, as the school's website makes it clear that it focuses heavily on racial, ethnic, and sexual identity. Losing formula, folks. I'm sorry. Seton's website has a whole section devoted to DEI at Seton. Features a quote from Learning for Justice, an initiative of the Southern Poverty Law Center that says all oppression, including that of LGBT individuals, refugees, immigrants, Muslims, women, people living in poverty, and people with disability, negatively affects all lives. Well, okay, maybe because those people, maybe it would affect my life if those people become such deadbeats in society that they're panhandling everywhere and bothering me, or they're violently assaulting people to steal their watch and
That's
wallet.
what I was about to say. Is I think the problem is when these kids aren't getting out of school, they're not passing their standardized tests. They go out into the world with no skills at all, and
none.
What are you going to do? You either become a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer, or you start doing crimes.
Yeah, it makes me want to stop doing this.
Yeah,
because so many fucking assholes are doing it now that it's like there's nothing special about this anymore. Almost nothing.
Well, once Raj I think we'll get something special going here. I got hope for podcasts like this that are willing to bring in other people, because every other show on the planet right now is just, me and my two dudes that I grew up with for the last 20 years, we're going to talk about the same fucking topics every single day.
Yeah,
that's where I'm like, okay.
Well, it's just kind of insulting. It's the only, like I've said, it's the only career where any asshole with a $20 microphone and an internet connection can do it and be like, hey, I've arrived. And it's like, there used to be, some talent required, but now it's like, no, who wouldn't want to do that? Everybody strives for this level of fame and all that now. And I get it. I totally understand that. But, I don't think it's healthy if everybody in society is doing it.
No.
You still need other people doing real work.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I don't like manual labor at all. I hate it.
But you do it.
I do it. It pays my bills, and I got to do it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Everyone doesn't want to do any actual work anymore.
Yeah.
They didn't pass their test. They don't want to go get the smart jobs, but they also don't want to do the manual labor of the guys who, like me, who just, I got out of high school, got my degree, and I started into the labor force. That's what I did.
Smart. There's nothing wrong with that.
I just started working.
And for someone that doesn't like school very much, I totally understand that. Go find a trade, do something, and be a productive member of society.
Exactly.
Just don't be an asshole to people. That's basically the whole requirement for me. Don't be an asshole. So the school says it holds a Black Lives Matter week every year to promote the significance of the movement and Black history, and to celebrate Black excellence locally and throughout history. If you're celebrating the BLM movement, you're an asshole, because that is already proven to be a total fraud. Like, the secret's out of the bag now. You helped no one. You enriched yourselves.
Yep.
And that's what it is. So if you're celebrating like, the strives made by Black Lives Matter, you're a fucking asshole. I'm sorry, you just are.
No, they just took the money and run. That was the whole.
Yeah.
That was the whole matter.
That was the whole grift, the whole scam. It was. And you leaned on good-hearted people that thought they were helping out with injustice.
I would have supported it like this honest. I get it.
Yeah.
You guys need to be heard, and your lives matter. And I see what happened. I could totally get behind a conversation about that. But once
millions of people did.
It just became a clothing brand after a while.
Yeah.
And then once it started making too much money, the people who were in charge just grifted it and left.
So last year, Seton listed guiding principles for BLM at School Week, including unapologetically Black. Okay. How many of you have had to apologize for being Black? Where is this taking place? Honestly, where is it in society where you're like, I'm just so tired of having to apologize for being Black? I don't believe you.
The only
don't
time people
believe
have
you
ever
that
apologized
that's
for
happening.
being Black with me is when it was a joke. Like, it would be like your Black friend said something funny, like, I'm sorry, I'm Black. You know, like, that's the, and it'd be the same thing with me going, dude, sorry, I'm white. You know, like, they'll throw some, every time I try and throw something in the garbage can and miss. Sorry, I'm white.
Yeah, and there's always that stupid level of joke that works. It's fine.
It's the only time I've ever heard apologizing.
But
for
honestly, think about that. Do you think anywhere in America someone is sincerely apologizing for being Black? I don't believe it.
No.
I don't believe that's happening. So diversity, Black families, Black villages, restorative justice, Black women, queer affirming. Seems a little odd in the whole Black mix, but whatever. Trans affirming, and globalism. School recommends teachers read politically charged books to their students, including Julian is a Mermaid. Not very familiar with Julian is a Mermaid. Sounds awesome. It's a book that appears to allude to transgenderism. And When We Say Black Lives Matter, to those in pre-kindergarten or younger. That's great. Kindergartners are recommended similar books, including Calvin, a story about a young girl who identifies as a boy. Calvin has always been a boy, even if the world sees him as a girl. He knows who he is in his heart and mind, but he hasn't told his family yet. Teachers give students Black Lives Matter coloring books and teach them Black American Sign Language. So I'm assuming that's just gang signs?
Is that different from, like, throwing up Bloods, Crips?
Yeah, West Side. Do you just do the W and... There you go. What is that one?
That's blood.
That's blood.
I maybe did it backwards, but that's the blood.
Yeah, BLOOD. Yeah. So, so I guess when you're talking about strictly Black American Sign Language, it can only be gang signs, right?
Because what's the difference between regular sign language?
Yeah. I'm not sure.
I thought sign language is its own thing, so that you could talk to anybody in the deaf community.
Yeah. No. But then you got. So they want to have what, like a hood version? Is that what that's supposed to mean?
It's just dancing. It's just a bunch of dudes dancing.
Yeah, so they need to tell me more than just like, and Black Sign Language, because that just strikes me as
doesn't
like
make any
Blood,
sense to me.
Crip, West Side, that kind of stuff. Let's see here. So yeah, they craft so unapologetically black. Let's see what the description for that is. Lots of different kinds of people, and there are lots of different kinds of people. And one way that we are different is the color of our skin. It's important to make sure that all people are treated fairly, and that's why we and lots of other people all over the country and the world are part of the Black Lives Matter movement. I'm going to add my little what is that called? The ... Ellipses at the end of these that I think will make this make a lot more sense. So we and all the people all over the country and the world are part of the Black Lives Matter movement. ... Except white males. I think that
I don't think
rounds that out. Collective values. So this is for pre-kindergarten, 3 to 4 year olds. Everybody is important and has the right to be safe and happy. Again, I'm going to add ... except white males. And by the way, you gays that are white and male are slowly but surely, they're throwing you away too. Like, you're not good enough.
Nope.
You're not discriminated.
No, white guys are not. I'm not
enough.
I was gonna say I'm not minority enough to be considered a minority anymore.
No,
unfortunately.
Wah,
also,
wah.
I looked it up. It still doesn't make sense to me. So, black sign language is gestures around the forehead area, whereas the regular sign language is the lower in body. So I don't know why they need it up here.
So if they're doing a Crips,
I don't know why they're
West Side, they do it up on their forehead.
Apparently, you have to do all your sign language up here instead of down here, and that's the whole difference between black and.
Is that
regular.
so you don't get shot in the head?
Maybe.
Is it like a deflection thing? Like if I'm shooting up gang
You got to make sure
signs?
it's up high enough for them to see.
Okay, all right.
You don't want to throw the wrong one out the window. You got to stick up high.
Hey, look, I'm just trying to understand.
Nope.
I'm not part of the community. I'm not welcome in the community, apparently. So I don't know what it all means.
I guess it also has more facial expressions. But I thought
Hell
that was
yeah.
Hell yeah.
It does. Diversity, pre-K, 3 to 4 year olds. Different people do different things and have different feelings. It is so important that we have lots of different kinds of people in our community and that everyone feels safe except white males.
Yeah. Well, here's the funny thing, too, is that if you talk to a lot of these, black kids as they get older, and I've talked to a lot of them like that, they don't like it either. They feel singled out. It's like, why is everyone...
Which people do?
Black people.
Yeah.
And other even gay people like me. It's like when there's this whole Pride event or this Black Lives Matter event, there's a lot of black people and gay people who don't like that because they're like, I don't want to be singled out. I just want to live with everybody else and be normal.
Yeah. And if you have anything actually going on in your life of value, you probably don't have time for any of this nonsense. You just don't. And you understand, like, no, I'm not walking down the street.
No, I got
people
work
are dropping
to do, right?
N-bombs at me all the time. It's just not happening. Empathy. It's so important to think about how other people feel because different people have different feelings. Sometimes it helps to think about how you would feel if the same thing happened to your friend happened to you. Again, unless you're a white male, then it doesn't matter.
No.
So I'll just do a couple more of these. Intergenerational. This is kindergarten through 2nd grade. I wonder why they want them starting so young with stuff like that. I don't know many kindergartners who know what intergenerational is.
I don't know many kindergartners who can pronounce the word intergenerational.
No.
I almost messed it up right there.
Yeah, exactly. It's important that we have spaces where people of different ages can come together and learn from each other. Another way to say that is intergenerational. Yeah, or pedo camp.
Yeah.
Right? Like, are you trying to normalize, like, older people hanging out with kids? Yeah, that's cool. Let's do that.
I wouldn't even go that far. It's just one of those things where it's like they know it's the most impressionable age. And that's where they can get all their things dug in right there. So that way when they grow up with it.
They're totally brainwashed.
Because they know if they talk to a bunch of 20-year-olds about this stuff, they go, yeah, fuck you, dude. I got to go to work.
Stanhope does a brilliant joke about that, about you shouldn't be able to start religion until you're 18. Because
I agree.
If you start, you have to be a soft-headed, fucking squishy mind, nothing, when they start pumping all that shit into you at 5 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you didn't have any, and his whole point was if you'd had no knowledge of this and they brought this up to you at 18, it'd be a totally different discussion. You wouldn't play along with it.
That's the thing, too. It's like, if you talk to me when I'm 10 years old and 20 years old, just 10 years apart, same guy, same regular, life path I've been on, I'd have totally different opinions about every single topic.
Sure. Of course.
So I think they're trying to drill everything in way young because they know that's the impressionable age. They can get it marked in there, and then when it comes up a little bit older, like, oh, yeah, I heard about this when I was a kid. I know about this. You're right.
Of course. And the more you can lay that groundwork, the more it sticks. But splitting everybody up into little groups is never a good idea. I'm sorry. Black women. So this is for 3 to 5 year olds. There are some people who think women are less important than men. duh.
Obviously.
Jesus Christ.
That's why I like men.
We know that all people are important and have a right to be safe and talk about their feelings. Again, except white males.
Yeah.
Like, they got to start adding that. Trans affirming. Everybody has a right to choose their own gender by listening to their own heart and mind. Everyone gets to choose if they are a girl or a boy or both, neither, something else, and no one else gets to choose for them. Okay, that just sounds batshit on its face. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't mean to offend trans people. I know I absolutely believe it's real, but that sounds crazy. So you're telling me you can be a boy, a girl, and nothing.
Or everything.
Or everything all at once, and nobody can say anything. See, you're...
Just throw the story down.
I'm done.
We're going to get heated.
Yeah. It's crazy. ICE. I didn't know ICE was still going on. Not like Ice Ice Baby, but like the people that take migrants or immigrants, illegal aliens, whatever you want to call them, and just grab them by the shirt,
obviously,
collar,
toss them right over,
and just flick them over the.
Yeah,
I thought
right.
Biden shut that down. Wasn't let ICE do anything.
No, I think he's like Obama, where he says he's all about inclusion, everyone coming in. But there's something going on where he's trying to. He realizes the election year's coming up.
Oh,
and it's a fucking
that's
problem.
that's obvious.
I think that's why it's getting brought up again.
Oh my God, he's blaming Trump now.
Yeah.
He's like, if
It's
this
Trump's
bill doesn't
fault.
go through, it's Trump and MAGA's fault. I'm like, dude, you know he hasn't been in office for over 3 years.
You've had 3 years.
You're the
get something
commander-in-chief. What the fuck are you? You could executive order this shit and shut the
I
border
was gonna
down.
say, you're so bad at controlling the border that the people down there now know it's the best time to get to America.
Yeah.
Like, they're planning to come to America.
Oh, they're
during
all
these years,
chanting
and they know
for-
if Trump
for
wins,
Jose
it's off
Biden.
again.
Yeah, for sure. They're all chanting for Joe Biden, wearing his name on their shirts. They love him.
Yep.
And the thing that pisses me off about this is for 3 straight years, this clown has been saying the border is secure. The border is secure. And now he's saying, the border's a total fucking disaster. It's basically a wide open border, is what he's saying. And it's Trump's fault.
Well, he didn't finish his wall, Mike.
What? Yeah.
He didn't
right.
finish the wall that they stopped him from building.
Incredible. Like, how do you make that work? And so which is it? Is it wide open or is it closed, like you said, for 3 years? I don't get it. Well, immigration officials have arrested several of the illegal aliens who were accused of attacking a police in New York last week. Did you see that?
Oh, I saw the video and I was enraged.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then even more enraging than them beating up the cops was them being released with no bail and just fucking flipping off the
Smiling
cameras.
the cameras, flipping them off.
Well, they were just going to, skip out on their court appearance in New York. That was their plan. Like, yeah, okay. Yeah, we're out on bail
The
for
DA
free.
won't fucking come after him.
Hell no. So they hightailed it to Texas, caught a bus to Phoenix, and then ICE officials picked them up in Phoenix.
Ooh, they hit the wrong states.
Yeah,
Because Phoenix and Texas right now really don't like the immigration problem.
Exactly. So they were arrested Monday evening by ICE at a bus station in Phoenix.
Should have went to Cali.
Yeah, they were trying to. That's where they were trying to get to.
Shouldn't have started in Texas.
ICE-
Start in Vegas or something.
ICE and Homeland Security arrested several of the immigrants believed to be in the involved in the mob beating of the NYPD officers at a Greyhound bus station in Phoenix. Bill Malusian wrote on X, "We've reached out to ICE for a statement. Probably won't get more details tomorrow." ICE then later confirmed the arrest. Special agents with Homeland Security Investigations and Border Patrol apprehended 4 individuals on a bus who were traveling to Phoenix from El Paso. The subjects were believed to be fleeing the state of New York from their suspected involvement in a coordinated assault on multiple police department officers in New York on Feb 6.
They were on camera.
So the officers, because I believe that's closed captioned. I don't think you can hear anything in that. But the officers told a group of illegals who were loitering in the street to move along. You know, like cops have told all of us at times in our lives. Move along. It's happened to me in Manhattan. Cops are like, go, move along. Let's go.
Come on.
Cross the street, fuckface. So that sparked the confrontation. Video shows the officers attempting to arrest one of the illegal immigrants as others kick and punch the officers in the head. 4 were eventually apprehended, all 4 released without bail. So they were, they were trying to get to California because it's a sanctuary state. Now, is ICE going to do their job and hoist these cocksuckers right over the wall? Honestly, I don't even give a shit what happens to them. I hope they have a really rough ride wherever they go.
I was going to say, after seeing the video,
Get them the fuck out of here.
I hope they get a little bit of retribution to him, because it was a brutal beatdown. It wasn't even like at one point the cop gave up, and he's like, okay, you guys just go. Just leave me alone. And they just kept going after him and kicking him.
It's unbelievable, man.
That's what always bothers me in a fight. Like, you know what? If you pushed the cop off you kind of tacked him a little bit and got up and ran, I'd be like, all right, you got away. Cool.
Sure.
But this was a mob beating.
Yeah. Kicking, punching.
And then going back for more.
And dude,
dude's down.
The problem, too, is not that people aren't going to try to fight a cop. Like, I get it. That's going to happen. People are going to break the law.
Oh, yeah.
We have enough of that garbage in our country already. I don't need fucking Venezuelan trash coming up here to use and abuse our systems and get their fight on with our cops.
Oh, yeah.
No, pull that shit in your home country. Don't come here and be so fucking disrespectful. You're not here 24 hours before you're starting all this shit. And then when you get booked and released, they release you with no bail, and you're going to flip off the cameras and laugh in their faces. It's so disrespectful. It's so un-American. And I have zero patience for it.
No, I don't either.
I'm tired of it. It's like, no, I know you want a voting constituency, but this is bullshit. And to pretend that you care about it, this administration now, wow, what a light bulb go off in an election year. Shocking.
Go
and
figure.
again, blame the boogeyman Trump on all of it. Fuck off. No, it's infuriating.
Well, he's literally Hitler. You have to blame everything on him. It's
Yeah.
the easiest target.
I mean, I couldn't believe it when he's like, and if this doesn't go through, you can blame Trump and MAGA reply. And I'm like, dude.
And my friend from childhood, Egg.
Yeah.
Just throw something else in there.
Why not?
It's unreal.
No, that would be, who was the guy in his childhood?
Corn Pop.
Corn Pop. Yeah, blame Corn Pop.
Blame my friend Corn Pop.
That'd be more believable. That'd be more believable than Donald Trump,
Yeah.
really? Like, I get it. You don't like Donald Trump. Half the country doesn't. But 70% of the country recognizes the border is a problem.
Yeah.
60-some% believe that it's 100% on Joe Biden. So whatever bullshit messaging and spin he's trying to put on it isn't working.
No, it's not looking
The
good for him.
public knows. Now, it doesn't mean that absolutely they won't try to rig and steal an election. You know, I know it's the freest and fairest elections we've ever had.
Obviously,
That's all we're getting. But they're stopping Hitler. So
those
anything's on the
fair
table.
elections where when you looked up the address for where people were voting from, they were just empty lots.
Empty lots, yeah. Steven Crowder did great work on that. He
Say
really
what you want
did.
about him, but he did a really good job on that.
He did. It was impressive to watch in real time. It really was. Let's see. Actor Kumail Nanjiani. Familiar with Kumail?
I had to look him up. I've seen some of his stand-up, a couple of his movies, but
Dude's fucking ripped, man.
yeah, that's when you put that up earlier. I was like,
Yeah.
no way, let me look at this. Holy shit.
It's cartoonish. It's
You just don't see ripped
Honestly, I thought
Indians.
it was ripped Indians. You don't
see them. Or Pakistani. I'm sorry, I had to also
Yeah.
correct that one. You don't see ripped Pakistani people.
Yeah.
Sorry, Raj.
He's absolutely fucking shredded though. I thought it was honestly like someone just like crudely cut his head off. And
It looks like a
posted it on.
Photoshop.
Yeah, it like a bad Photoshop.
And you don't even have to go very far. You just look up his name. It's there.
Yeah. So he was part of Silicon Valley, and we used to talk to Martin Starr all the time, who was kind of Martin Starr and Kumail would go back and forth all the time, beating each other's ass, one up at each other with their insults and stuff on that show, and I loved it. Great role, but ever since that show, he's turned into this fucking weirdo. Like
He turned into the part of Silicon Valley.
yeah, he's like that super woke idiot, guy, but whatever. So now he's saying the terrible reviews of the Marvel film Eternals. So this was in 21, affected his mental health so much they had to go seek therapy over it.
Good, that movie was so bad. I needed therapy.
Did you
after
see it?
I tried. I watched.
I don't
it for
think I
like
saw
1
it.
second. I heard him talking a lot of shit about it on Normal World, and I was like, okay, it can't be that bad. It's a Marvel movie. They got
Okay.
money behind it. It's
Yeah,
that bad.
and I
It's-
think Quarterback Garrett is really into that
yeah,
stuff.
he's into a lot of that stuff, and it was
Yeah.
one of those things where it was like the whole movie takes place in one spaceship with a bunch of female leads.
Yeah, sounds like a
So
winning
it's just
formula.
being like in a room full of women.
Yeah.
That was the movie. Is hey, let me go sit in a
But
room
but
full of women.
Kumail was the lead.
He had to be something in there. I'm trying to think of what he did.
So he says the reviews were bad, and I was too aware of it. I was reading every review and checking too much. It was really, really hard because Marvel thought that the movie was going to be really, really well reviewed. So they lifted the embargo early and put it in some fancy movie festivals, and they sent us on a big global tour to promote the movie right as the embargo lifted. Their plan backfired. Yeah, these people are not making great decisions. Disney thinks all their movies are going to be great too.
Oh, yeah.
And they keep getting murdered
Well, they keep
when they
thinking
come
if they
out.
just throw money at it, it's going to be a good movie.
Right. It's not quite how that works. It just isn't. I'm sorry to tell you people that. So their plan backfired and led to the actors promoting the film as many reviewers heaped criticism on it. I think there was some weird soup in the atmosphere for why that movie got slammed so much. And I think not much of it has to do with the actual quality of the movie. It was really hard, and that was when I thought it was unfair to me, unfair to my wife, Emily, and I can't approach my work this way anymore. Some shit has to change. So I started counseling. I still talk to my therapist about this. Okay, so you've learned nothing.
No.
Is what he's saying, basically. It sounds like, Kumail, your movie fucking sucked, and people saw it and decided that it sucked. No matter how much woke nonsense you put in it, it sounds like it sucked.
Well, also, I'll put it like this. I mean, look at that poster. Can you name a single person on that? Because I'm pretty with it with, like, modern actors. Besides Kumail up in the corner, I don't know who any of these people are.
No.
I don't know what they did in the Marvel universe, and I've watched all the way up to, like, the Endgame. I don't know what any of these people do. I don't know what any of these...
No, that looks horrible, and I don't recognize any of them.
It looks like the Power Rangers.
So what do we have? A little white boy. We have, it's just a mix of diverse bullshit that just is proving time and time again to not be a hit anywhere. It's just not proving to be successful stuff.
No.
I'm sorry. When you go outside of that and try to it doesn't matter what our fan base is. We're just going to shove this shit in your face.
Exactly.
They're not going to receive it well. I'm sorry. You can't pander to people like that and virtue signal them and expect them to jump on board and be like, oh, it's a great movie. You know why? Because of the really diverse cast.
And that's the thing.
Nobody's ever said that ever.
They put the cast way before the actual movie writing in a lot of these situations.
Yeah.
And that's why they flop. Like,
when they're bragging to me about a female director, it's like, dude, unless it's Scorsese, I don't need or fucking Quentin Tarantino or something.
Tarantino's my guy. Like,
Quentin Tarantino's my guy too. But other than that, I don't give a shit who the director is. Male, female, trans, gay, whatever.
Especially with Disney.
Can he make a good
and,
movie?
Marvel movies, they're all the same.
Yeah.
They're all just like, hey, we're gonna have a superhero fight, and there's gonna be a couple wisecracks throughout the show.
Right.
That's the movie.
Exactly. Emily says that I do have trauma from it. That's his wife, Emily. We actually got dinner with somebody else from that movie, and we were like, that was tough, wasn't it? And he's like, yeah, that was really tough. And I think we all went through something similar. This is so simple. For you not to understand, like, you know what worked on Silicon Valley? This is super, super woke. It was the smart-ass digs and jokes. Yep. It was the constantly picking on you for being a fucking Pakistani.
It was having actual funny people on your show.
Yes.
Like TJ Miller was funny. Granted, he did some bad shit,
Martin
but he was
Starr.
funny.
Martin Starr's attack on him. Constantly using stereotypes about each other's character. That's what worked, and it was funny. It wasn't cast in a certain way where it was like, oh yeah, like when you're talking about like, oh, diversity is our strength, and the diverse nature of this cast is what really makes it work. Nobody's ever said that. I love that movie. It was so diverse. It was awesome.
No,
nobody. I don't know who these people are that think that people give a shit about that. What do you got there?
Oh, my dad just said that's why Deadpool was great, because they had TJ Miller. They cast him in it, and he was just funny.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds, TJ, you got
His
funny
stand-up
people
sucks.
working together.
But, TJ Miller's great in it.
Yep.
He's great in most movies I've seen him in.
Yeah, generally he's just a good awkward character to put in a movie.
Yeah.
And he's funny about it. He
He's
can say the wisecrack,
fantastic
and
in
do it
Deadpool.
straight dead on.
Yeah. He's awesome in Silicon Valley.
Yep.
He's awesome in Deadpool.
He just plays a really good asshole.
But if this is the lesson, like, oh, everybody was wrong about Eternals. Like, our promotions team thought it was going to be really good. Yeah, well, your promotions team is probably the problem, Kumail. That's probably the problem. That when you have people focused on, ooh, we have a lesbian fucking woman director, nobody gives a shit. Outside of a tiny group of fucking people, nobody cares.
I looked past some of that too, because when I was looking for why Kumail was angry, right? A couple other articles popped up that it was getting review bombed because they have a gay kiss scene. So it was all homophobic people review bombing the movie before it came out.
Was it a forced gay kiss scene?
Probably.
I never saw it, and looking at
I didn't
that
get that far into it. I just watched a
poster,
couple things.
I will not be watching.
It looks like the gay Power Rangers.
Yeah, it does. That's a good call. All right, let's do some emails and get out of here. I got dinner plans in a little bit here, and I got to get out.
I got some stew to get to.
All right, Garrett.
Uh-oh.
Okay, you want feedback. Get him up on mic. You're loud. He's soft and quiet. Easus is always way loud, but that's him. Okay.
I was already told to get closer to the mic, too.
That's true, but if you look at the levels I have here, I've got that mic in particular potted down a lot more than mine.
It's Ease?
Because it's Ease, and he screams. So no matter where E is in the room, I have to pot him down. He'll blow my fucking headphones out. What are you talking about? He squawks and yells and screams. Let's see. Pretty sure Easus wants to experience what Garrett has to offer.
Uh-oh.
All right. My God, could he stop slob gobbling his cock on air? He's coming off as angry towards you, Mike, while almost mother hen protective of Garrett, who, by the way, doesn't need protection. Forget that Injun from Texas. Easus has really shifted his take on things to mere fell hour. Distracting. You may have to get Jay on for a few days to slap some sense back into him before he makes his way back up to Libtard Island. I can't believe I was complaining a few emails ago. I'm not taking it back just yet, but maybe install a cough button on his mic that you control. Who's he talking about?
I think Easus.
Was he coughing a lot?
No, I think he was just
mute
talking
him.
a lot.
Is he just saying to mute him?
Yeah, I think he was talking a lot. Maybe he had something going on with his throat, but...
Okay. Good day. So I said good day.
Yeah. I said good day.
Yeah, Easus tapped a nerve. Was it Thursday?
Yeah, it was last Thursday.
Last Thursday with his attitude. And if you could have been a little birdie in the room on the wall here, whatever, how that saying goes, Easus was very apologetic as soon as the show ended.
No, he was actually really cool. But he's like, I didn't mean the...
Which is irrelevant. I don't give a shit if he's really cool about it after the fact.
Yeah.
I was just trying to get through it, and he looked weird when I brought up the Bud Light thing. Now, I beat the shit out of that originally because it's the fraud nature that bothers me so much. Yeah. It's not like, oh, we put this woman in a campaign that we thought was going to be successful and it didn't work out. No, it's the fraudulent nature of it.
It was attacking their own fan base. And
yes. And it was the fraudulent nature of it that I saw through, and that's what's so utterly offensive. It's hypocritical, offensive. So Easus maybe he thought I was going down that road, but the reason to bring it up was just because of the Shane Gillis thing. That was a totally different, unexpected side to that story that totally made sense. So it kind of went downhill from there. And Easus has gotten to a point now where he doesn't like topical news stuff. And so I have to change the way I prep when it's just me and E, because I know he can't talk about the border shit. Yeah. He can't talk about illegals. He can't talk about any of it. And for some people, that's thrilling. They don't want to talk about it either. Well, I don't want to talk about what fucking Easus wants to talk about half the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to. What's he going to talk about? Running? Like, no, there's a lot of shit going on in the news. There's subtle differences to those stories. And to me, they're important. And it's what I like doing. And if you're going to be a part of something like this, you have to understand that and roll with it. Even when you don't like something, you can be quieter on it. Believe me, I didn't love every story Drew fucking pulled.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't. But I never fucking took a knee on it. I never took a knee on it. It was like, no, this is what Drew's doing. How do I make it better? How do I help make this a better story? And Easus I think he was sincere, and he's like, fuck, I can't do that, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But the thing with E is, it's probably because of who he is and wherever he is on the spectrum, because I love the guy. I've made that abundantly clear. But he's not someone who identifies a problem and then corrects it. He just keeps having the same problem and the same fit and the same stew. And no matter how many times you tell him, we're doing it again. Remember, what we're going to do in this situation is we're going to play ball.
Yep.
We're going to find a way how do I make it better? Don't get pissy with me and make it obvious to the audience. How can you make it better? How can you make it funny? How can you make it whatever? He doesn't learn that lesson. So is what it is. Still love the guy. But
side note to the Bud Light thing.
Yeah.
Brilliant fucking play on Bud Light, because I don't really listen to the Joe Rogan too often, right?
Yeah.
But they had Shane Gillis and Matt McCusker on. I was like, oh, I like Shane Gillis. Let me listen to what he's doing. open the show up before any ads. Oh, you're cracking a Bud Light there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. They're my sponsor now. Dude, it was a full-on ad for Bud Light right on the Joe Rogan podcast. But that is a fucking platform right there.
Hell yeah.
Smart
11 million.
move. Smart
11
move.
million. All right. New show and diet. Hey, I was going to wait till Raj got there to give my opinion on the new show, but Poem 1840 made me right. Garrett is going to work. He has a good voice for audio, and he's libertarian. You won't remember because you never remember me when I write, but as an anarchist, having a libertarian works for me. I also want to comment on the carb diet discussion. You're now in my wheelhouse. Let E know that even the less expensive meat in the grocery store is still much better than the highly processed food. Going low carb or carnivore might even help you, Mike. Do some research. Info is easy to find. Steve.
This guy sounds like he likes the Joe Rogan podcast.
It's possible. Libertarian, I get it. Just like leave me
to
leave
me,
the
it
fuck
is literally
alone.
just, hey, just leave me. Stop taking my money and just let me live my fucking life. That's all I want to do.
Smaller government.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Let me have my guns. Let me smoke my weed, and let me just. I'm not. Am I hurting people? Cool. Then don't
Then fuck
with me.
off.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. Yeah, it's not a terrible way to go about life, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's apparently the end of the world for some, but I agree. I think a lot of people listening are like that.
Yeah.
Subject, new format. Sorry, cult leader, I'm a couple stories behind. A, I've always got your back. B, I like having E back. He's my kind of dork. C, the woke bae is a good addition, and I'm looking forward to hearing his opinions.
Oh, all positive
D,
so far.
Raj is a libtard, but I think he'll be a good addition too. I might not agree with everything he says. No, you will not. But it's good to have other voices. I've said it before in an email to you, but worth repeating. Whatever happened to, I might not agree with your opinion, but I'll fight to defend your right to say it. I'll fight to the death to defend your right to say it. The shows have been very good of late. Keep it up. Your dedicated Patreon member, the Beeve. Oh, thank you, Beeve. We should mention Patreon. RadioFor1.com. I did some Drew and Mike Pause stuff. I did like 5 of them over the weekend. They're fucking hilarious. There's some really good shit in there. And if you're a fan of, the Drew and Mike show, I even unlocked one of them for our $5 members that don't typically have access to that. So if you're a member, if you're not a member, if you want some old Drew and Mike stuff, I hate talking about it in here, but
I'm not going to say too much about the show, but there's a reason why I've been walking around saying "spank my buttholio" in my head a lot.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah. I
There's some
can't help
funny
it.
stuff in there.
There's some really funny stuff in there, and more to come. I'll definitely do some this weekend, and blah blah blah. I made the comment that Dan is funnier than Mark. That is an irrelevant comparison. The reference point is less than 0. Reference point is less than 0. Oh. I get it. He's shitting on Mark. Yeah, Mark seems not terribly happy right now.
Oh.
And maybe, Mark was usually a pretty happy dude, but Mark's kind of a weirdo. His brother Dan is just outright fucking hilarious. He just is. He's fucking hilarious. So anyway, we'll kill it there. If you'd like to send the show your comments, tell me what you think of Garrett,
I got a comment here before we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
This guy, Cliff a Cook, just said, I'm 10 minutes behind. I'd like to volunteer to be your Marvel insider question answerer. I've always been a comic book guy, and I hate what they're doing to the Marvel lore. So if we need any Marvel lore updates, just email in, dude.
Dude, email me in. Email walters@detroitcast.com. Tell me about this Eternals.
Yeah.
If they ate shit on that, if it was like, oh my God, this was a woke bullshit.
Tell me where... I was going to say, tell me where the movie universe went right off the comic books and off a fucking cliff, because it went off a fucking cliff.
Eternals did, or all of them?
All of them.
Yeah.
Just, they started out like comic book movies,
just,
and I liked them.
They're just generating $1 billion each, so they don't care.
Just tell me which movie it stopped at so I know which one to watch up to whenever I'm trying to watch my superhero movies.
What was his name?
That is Cliff a Cook. That's the username he goes with.
Cliff a Cook.
Yep.
Cliff, send me some emails. I'd love to have an insider. People get so mad whenever Jay and I especially would talk about comics or anything.
I would. I was screaming at my phone a few times.
Yeah. We're morons, but we were proud.
It was like trying to get like your dad saying something. You're like, Dad, it's like this. It just.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Nobody says that anymore.
I get it. But at the same time, I really don't give a shit.
No.
But if somebody wants to come in and be like, here's what's going on, I'm the
email
Marvel
us in.
expert, I'm all in. I love it. We can start small. Send me some emails. If I'm impressed, maybe we'll go from there. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Sorry about the power outage the last couple days, but you'll be back tomorrow. We'll be here.
Yep.
So we'll see you tomorrow as we lead into Super Bowl weekend. I don't get the feeling that people are all that jacked for the Super Bowl. It's too bad, but I don't know. We'll see. But we'll be back tomorrow, and hopefully you'll all join us then.